So it was a big win for Chelsea, a result tonight that will give them some confidence, and it has to be said that they probably went the slightly stronger of the two in terms of their starting lineup. Lianne, what did you make of Chelsea's, not just their performance, but their approach to the game tonight?
Yeah, I was thinking before that when I think Olivier Giroud doesn't get as much credit as he deserves. So I'm happy that he got the start tonight. But I think Chelsea getting the early goal with Willian, I think that set the pace for the game. And in the end, I think Chelsea could have gone on to get even more goals with Pedro in at the end at the last minute. And I think when Liverpool don't start with Firmino, Salah, all on the same field at the same time, I think Liverpool are a different team. And I think when Jordan Henderson's not there as well, I think it makes a huge difference. I wasn't Henderson's biggest fan throughout the years, but when I was in Qatar at the FIFA Club World Championships and he was the captain and he went into the centre-back position, he was fantastic. And, I'm all for giving credit where it's due. So I think when he's not playing for Liverpool, I think they're a big difference. But someone like Virgil van Dijk, he still leads, you can see the winning mentality in him. And I'm sure they're all going to be disappointed tonight they haven't won. And, Liverpool now 3 games
in the last 4.
In the last 4, so that's not good for confidence. But for me, they're 22 points clear, I think, at the moment. And I think, but they obviously want to finish the season on a strong, on a high. And I think, no one wants to lose games, especially in the way they did tonight.
Well, the thing is, it's interesting, as Lianne alluded to there, they've got a huge gap at the top of the Premier League. You can't just turn on and off winning games. So you need to maintain momentum. But at the same time, 7 changes tonight. Jurgen Klopp has never been past this stage of the FA Cup. So that really shows his priorities. So therefore, in terms of confidence, will it actually not do that much damage tonight to Liverpool, do you think, Rob?
No, and I think you look at it over the course of a season, it's making a conversation now because of what they've done before. And it's such an incredible run. But let's not kid ourselves that in a literal sense, the kids played in the last round. They were willing to forego the FA Cup. They played Shrewsbury and they said, this isn't our game. This isn't our tournament. Sorry, thank you. You've put us in a position. And Jurgen Klopp made that call and said to Neil Critchley, said, you're playing the kids. I'm not even going to turn up. They were writing this tournament off a game ago. So to make a big deal out of a defeat tonight, yes, it's 3 out of 4. Yes, it's not a great run in comparison to where they were. But you look at it and say, well, they're still in the European Cup and they've got games to play within the league. So, I think they'll be taking it with a pinch of salt. And Jurgen Klopp will be sat there saying, well, we're not going to win every tournament. No one's done that before. So, there's a reason for that. And tonight, again, they came up against a good team as well.
I don't like, though, how, how teams now take the FA Cup lightly. Because, FA Cup is a huge deal. It's the thing you grow up as a kid watching on TV. And I think sometimes I find it quite disrespectful when teams feel the weakened team or, Klopp says, we're going to not really try and win this, because it's the FA Cup at the end of the day. It's like a dream come true to win the FA Cup, playing at Wembley and stuff like that. And I think the fact they even play the semi-final at Wembley now is another story, and there's another conversation in itself, because the FA Cup is unbelievable.
But Lianne, would you accept if Jurgen Klopp says, listen, if we want to seriously challenge for the Premier League and to retain the Champions League, we can't do all 4 competitions, we can only focus on these 2. Would you respect his opinion?
Yeah, you got to. He's one of the best coaches in the world, so, and that's why he's in the position that he's in, because, as we know, the Premier League, they have so many games. It's good they had a couple of weeks, some of the teams had a couple of weeks off over the winter time, but at Christmas, and you can see injuries coming in, Jamie Vardy got injured at the strength, Harry Kane's got injured, and I think it is an overload of injuries. You played at this level for a long time, you know how hard it is on your body, the impact it has on games, and, I can't imagine playing 70 games a season at that intensity.
Yeah, well, you look at it, and I waited 25 years to retire, and the first season I do, they bring in a winter break. So yeah, it's kind of, that's life. But Jurgen Klopp's been very, very cute with how he's managed it in terms of the media as well. He's put it on their toes, and what resonated with me was he says my first duty of care is with the players' welfare. He said no one else is looking after them. I will look after my players. They are my boys. This is my family. And beyond anything else, that's the first thought into his mind. And so, we can criticise him, we can play a weakened team, but as you say, he's the guy. He's got the stats. They changed the way they play. They said we can't do this high press all the time because we're competing on so many fronts. So,
is that different from Manchester? Sorry to interrupt you, Robert. Is that different from Manchester City though, who played differently in the cups? They were the champions last season.
I think it's different. I think it's I think they're trying to manage something that Pep goes to win every game. And he has a different mindset that it is, you play this way and it's regardless of the opposition, and we are going to play and do it. And if we do it to the utmost of our ability, no matter who's playing, we will beat the opposition. So I think, look, it's two different guys doing it their own ways, and there's not one right way, one wrong way. You can't deny either of their success at the minute. But Pep's the man. He's just won another tournament at the weekend, and without playing his strongest team. So all in all, he's saying it's one that these guys are qualified in what they do, and they can call the shots, and that's why they do what they do.
Because they're doing so well, do you think there will be very few Liverpool fans? In fact, I'd like to hear from Liverpool fans if indeed they are disappointed that they could have gone for the treble. With the lead they have, one loss is not going to make a huge difference. It's not as though they've all of a sudden tumbled in the bookies' eyes as to winning the Premier League. Given the size of that lead, why not go for the treble and go for the FA Cup tonight? Yeah,
I think that Jurgen Klopp thought that this team would have been enough to win the game. I think Liverpool fans definitely were going to want to win the treble, and I think they're going to definitely go on to win the Premier League. And I think, like I said earlier about confidence, I think when you lose a game, it starts to breed into the other games, and I hope they don't take that forward in the Champions League and stuff like that. But I think, Klopp fielded a team tonight that he thought could win the game, and unfortunately, and lucky for Chelsea fans, and Chelsea, they got the win.
It was always going to be a story of goalkeepers tonight, and so it proved, and we knew that, which is why we booked Rob months in advance. Let's start with Adrian.
Yes.
I know you were at Goodison as well on Sunday. Is this currently the life of a goalkeeper for some reason?
It's a strange beast, isn't it, at the minute? And you look at the mistakes on Sunday, two very, very different mistakes. And you look at Adrian tonight, made a mistake after making a fantastic save off one shot, which was probably a harder save to make. And then the shot that he does let in, it's arguably an easier one. What I would say in his defence, he's got Virgil van Dijk in front of him, the ball moves, he goes one way, maybe gambles a little bit, it swerves, it hits him in the wrong place, it goes in. It's just so difficult that sometimes as a goalkeeper you'd rather have the full stretch save than a wobbly one straight at you, if that makes sense. So it's one that, again, he's been brilliant when he's come in. I think he's made a mistake tonight, and when you lose in a defeat of 1 or 2 goals, and it is that goal that sort of sets the ball rolling, so to speak, that's what makes it worse as a goalkeeper. It's really, really tough, and it's being a striker.
I think it's probably different. Like for a centre forward, if I miss, which I never do, I'm only joking. If I miss, I think about it. I'm the kind of player. If I score 3 goals, I think about the 3 I didn't score. But then for a goalkeeper, you make one mistake and it's remembered. And I think that's sometimes hard.
But yeah, but also it's kind of within your team. You can stand there and they'll say, no matter how badly your team plays, and you lose 1-0 or maybe 2-0 like tonight, they'll turn around and go, yeah, we're doing all right until we let one in. So it compounds it. And look, he's other than injuries to Alisson, he was only going to play in the FA Cup now, and so that's kind of technically without ill will towards Alisson, that's his season over. He's going to have to sit as a watching brief for the rest of the season. So, it's a tough one to take.
What did you make of the decision for Frank Lampard to bring back Kepa? Hasn't played for the last 6.
It's an interesting one. You'd have said, if he hadn't played tonight, you'd have said, I'm not sure whether he's got a future. But because he's played, and the way he played, and the result, and keeping a clean sheet, you're saying, well, hold on a minute. Is he back to his best tonight? He made a treble save, which is fantastic. And I'm delighted for him as a person that he's managed to have this opportunity and he's taken it. And he's a young guy. I think it's unfortunate for him that the transfer happened when it happened, and the comparisons with Alisson are going to be inevitable. Chelsea were always going to go and buy him. Chelsea were always going to pay that fee because it was a release clause. It just so happened to be at the same time for roughly about the same money. So
completely different beasts in completely different stages of their career?
Absolutely. Yeah, you've got one guy who's, Liverpool went out and bought the ready-made guy. They bought, this is the guy, and he is going to come in and take over, and he has done, and he's been brilliant.
Do you think that Chelsea fans, because for me, I'm not a Chelsea fan, but when Kepa refused to come off the field last year, when Sarri was asking him to come off, I feel like he's always going to have that over his head in some way. like, because I don't know if Chelsea fans, I hope they've forgiven him, but for me, even myself, I still think about that.
Yeah.
Not that I'm holding on to it, but I think that was always going to be hard. No, because we've never seen it before. You know, like, come off the pitch, I'm not coming off, and it's like...
Is that perhaps part of what Rob's saying? Is sort of youthful impetuousness, you know, an experienced goalkeeper.
And likability. You know, I think that Chelsea fans at that point were already kind of like, you know, I don't even think they wanted him to play for Chelsea again after what he did. Even if he is a fantastic goalkeeper, even if, you know, my team's goalie did that, I would feel the same. You know, it's not good to see that.
To win them back over?
Yes, I think so. And I think it's going to take, you know, football, you know, you can have a great game, you're fantastic. You have a bad game, everyone thinks you're awful. So, you know, sometimes it can work for or against you.
You've trained with Willy Caballero. Is he good enough to be Chelsea's number one at the age of 38?
He's got the ability. He's done it before at Manchester City. He's done it for Argentina. You know, so he's played at the top level before. I think what you're looking at with Chelsea and the way that they've gone this season, you're looking at the young guys who've come in. It bucks the trend for him to be number one, and I think that's something that will go against him as a long-term prospect. I think Willy's been fantastic since he's come in, and I think he's, you know, held his own and been a guy that, you know, all of a sudden has brought a steadying influence to the team, maybe while still conceding goals, which, you know, has not been his own fault. But, you know, at the same time, you're looking at it saying we've bought into a long-term project here. Frank's doing it with the young lads, and that's the identity that they want to bring to this Chelsea team. That's not what Willy is. Well,
Kepa made a magnificent treble save. So, who would you expect, Lianne, to see in goal at the weekend against Everton?
It's going to be a tough one, but maybe I think Kepa. I think after tonight and stuff like that, I think, you know, it's hard to know because I think Willy's done a great job when he's been in, and I think when he played at Man City, the same thing happened where he's always kind of thrown in when something's not going right.
Yep.
And I'm sure for a goalkeeper that could be a good thing because you've got nothing to lose, but at the same time, you know, after tonight Kepa playing, I feel like he's probably going to get the start in the next game. But what do you think, Rob?
Yeah, I think it's one of them that can work against you when you go, oh, he's reliable, he's a good guy, he's good around the dressing room. You kind of get used and abused a bit in that respect. So, but at the same time, there's only one person who can answer that, and that's Frank. But if Kepa could do anything, it would be put in a performance like tonight against Liverpool and keep a clean sheet, and he's done that.